Your party dashes in from the streets. At the entrance of the courtyard of the manor itself, that's when the lightning strikes. The shadows give way for a moment. And at the top of the stairs, you see an ogre magi already completing the arc.
Alright, so I have a few tasks I have to run this morning right now, but it's D&D day. So this is part 3 for a dive into Forge of Fury. The mountain door of Kundrakar. It's not going to be easy. I mean, the alarm has already been set off. Everyone knows they're there. They just barely survived their fight with old Yarrick. And now they're heading straight into the moors of the ogre Ulf, the great Ulf, who's waiting for them. There's a couple of things that they really are going to need to keep in mind. Now, I contacted Ren, and I let him know that his character is the only military-based origin of the whole bunch. So, giving him just a little bit of credit that he would understand a few things going into this. Like, they really need to assess what they have left, what their gear is, what tricks they have, what's up their sleeve, as well as assessing what everyone is capable of doing. What are their feats? What are their abilities? What are their skills? He's really going to need to assess this before they continue moving forward. I mean, he has a chaotic gnome illusionist, a barely trustworthy cleric of Wajah, a socially inept monk, and he's got a half-orc rogue who's hunted by the very orcs that they're invading. He has to be really careful with this. So I sent him a note and I let him know, and hopefully it's going to take seed. Now, another thing is Andrew, our new fish. So he's played a little 5th edition before, but this is his real first big delve into Dungeons & Dragons. So playing a monk, I sent him a text to remind him to freshen up in the player's handbook on some of his feats, such as improved trip, improved disarm, and sunder, that they may be coming in handy. I also gave him a reminder that his nunchuck do give him a +2 bonus to his disarm attacks. So let's see if any of this, took root. So Rob's cleric rogue doesn't have a lot of spells left. I know he was using a lot of them. I got to check my notes when I get home specifically, but he was spending a lot of his clerical spells for healing up new fish there, because that monk was taking quite a beating. Tom's the necromancer has a few 0-level spells left. He's probably going to need to use those to heal himself, because the necromancer is not very healthy right now. And otherwise, I just got to see what the guys have planned. I hope that Ron has been thinking about what I texted him, as well as Andrew. I'm giving him as many hints as I can. Even though he's a new player, he's gonna have to figure this out. I hope so, because if he doesn't, bad things are gonna happen. All right, so really, all they have to worry about is the battle with the Great Ulf, which they're walking right into. But if they get past this, then there's only one small obstacle. And that is the remaining druid shaman. Well, not druid, it's shaman orc. She has a couple of followers. Shouldn't be that tough, but they're going to be so wasted, so damaged after this fight with the Great Ulf. Will they survive that? After that, that whole level is theirs. Let's see if they can actually pull this off. Well, there will be one other little problem after they deal with the ogre, the shaman. There'll be one little nuisance. That's in the grand stair room. Because if they get in there before they heal up, those devilish little sturges are going to be all over them, draining their blood. They have so little left to survive and yet it's looking so it's looking messed up for them. And you know what? I mean, just look at it. This is a perfect day to stay home and play D&D. Right? It's a good initiative roll, huh? Okay, so this is the way I left everything set up for the last couple of days. Okay, I'm actually going to be picking this up before the guys get here, so it's not revealed until they open the door. And there they are. Ren is still large size for like 20-25 rounds still. I gotta double check the notes. I have the spell template all ready for the Ryman to use. Everyone's got their character folder. Oh, what happened there? Oh, that's better. With some appropriate books. And each side of the table has a player's handbook. We got the dice sets and the dice tower. General book on the side. And over here for a new fish and for the Ryman, everything that they're gonna need. And I gotta set up the spot for myself. And then that's it. And that's it. This is what we got going so far today. And this is gonna be my area over here. All this is just waiting to be used. There's nothing like over here. If they find the secret door, this is what's going to happen. Look at that. They find the secret door. It's going to slide. And that'll lead them over here to where the shaman, where she is, with her followers. So yeah, I have again altered a little bit. This isn't quite exactly the way the map looks in the module. I eliminated room 7 again, like I did last week. I said I was going to, and crunched up some of the rooms up top, including the Great Oaf's room over here. Okay, so just waiting for the guys, and I'll set up the rest. And I'll set up the rest of my area. Cool.
Brian is pushing me on essentially a magical sled over a ladder bridge.
All right, so the Toy-Sided Warriors are here. Now let's talk about a little bit of a recap, starting off with the Ryman.
So, where we started off last time was we had gotten to the precarious drawbridge. Well, it wasn't a drawbridge, but the orcs made it a drawbridge by dropping it from the other side. So we were stuck on one side trying to figure out how are we going to get across this chasm? Because we were all on the other side. We have people in armor. We have people who aren't that coordinated, so we're trying to figure out what to do. Turns out our monk had a very handy-dandy cloak of useful items, some of which happened to be ladders. Several, yeah, somehow, several ladders just stored away. Using the ladders, we made a makeshift bridge and very, very precariously made our way across. Some of us were able to walk across. The monk, I believe the cleric rogue, made it across without too much of an issue. Our fighter, on the other hand, in an equivalency to the two towers, needed to be guided across the ledge. And so using the spell Tensor's Floating Disc, we had him positioned on the disc and we floated him across very, very carefully, in which, you know, by pure luck of the D&D gods, the pantheon that there is, we got him across using an enlarged creature spell, put him right into the fray as this hulking warrior to go and wreak havoc.
And then what happened, Monk?
Then I pretty much got my ass handed to me on a fine platter. I took some hits, but yeah, realizing that my robe actually had some useful items. I had my trusty bullseye lantern because it's still dark and I can't see anything, and I believe our light spell had worn off by that time. But there were still, I want to say, around 5 or 6 orcs.
There were a handful.
About 5 or 6 orcs all on the other side of the bridge, which we finally made it across. But in an attempt to fight said orcs, I got hurt, but luckily we have our enlarged fighter wreaking havoc with his cleave?
Power attack?
Yes, Ren!
It is a bastard sword, and once they enlarged me, I just went to town. I believe I killed.
Dropped like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, well, I believe either I killed or I finished off the leader of that set.
Yes.
And in the middle of fighting, of course, I stopped and I had to loot his stuff because his stuff was really cool. Bandolier of throwing axes, -1.
Javelin throwing.
Masterwork.
That masterwork, exactly. Yes, dwarven made. Can't beat it. And so I am still big.
And that brings us to, what would you say, Rob, to about where we ended?
Yes. I don't remember all the details. I just know that we got across.
And that is leading us down this corridor here with Tom's Necromancer and the gnome in the back, and the half-orc rogue next to the skeleton, and the monk, and then our giant fighter.
I actually forgot all about the skeleton.
Yeah.
We had one on the
that's
verge
right.
of death.
We got a grapple.
And the necromancer using his bone razor, or is it bone razor?
Yes.
Is able to, as long as they're still alive, if he kills them with the bone razor,
Coup de grace.
they come back as a skeleton minion at his command.
It's not a summon spell. He's
Right.
there until he gets destroyed.
So remember, people, when fighting, don't kill. Well,
Get him close.
get him close.
Non-lethal damage.
That's what I
That's
say.
your MO.
Cool.
All right, then let's start this week's adventure and see what happens. Yesterday was off the goddamn hook. It was the most intense game of D&D that we've played around the table with this session so far. There are 2 things I always want to bring up now before we get the player's perspective of it in the next installment, next episode. And that is the Great Ulf himself, first of all. I did a little bit of a redesign on him for the module where I gave him an upgraded weapon. I thought of this really cool weapon that does both knockback and knock down on successful hits if you fail saves, and I decided to call it Floor Kisser. So the party had gotten separated with Smorky, our rogue, hiding inside the room where the Great Ulf and the other orcs are waiting to decimate us. Ren's fighter is still large size. He's in there, but he's only just in the doorway, and that wasn't part of their plan, the orcs' plan. They wanted to wait until the first 2 heroes, adventurers, came into the room, and then an orc they didn't see hidden behind the door was going to slam the door shut, separate everyone, and the Great Ulf and the rest were just going to start beating the crap out of him. Ron just didn't come into the room fully. So when the orc pushed the door, knocked him in the hallway. So only Rob was in the room, only Smorky. The Great Ulf came over, and there was a couple of cool things that happened. I'm going to let the players talk about that. What I want to mention from my point of view of the DM is finally when the Great Ulf had enough, and he uses Floor Kisser, and he hits this giant oaken door that I had put in separating the hallway to this room. And it sent the door flying 15 feet back, this foot-thick, huge oaken door, hitting everyone taking damage. Everyone except Ron, I think, fell down. That scene was just amazing. The gasps from around the table when that happened. Now, the other thing I want to point out, from my point of view now, while it's still very fresh until we get their point of view, is Ron. So his fighter, Eamon Talbot, has been particularly pissed off for a while now concerning an orc archer. Since the very first scene, there's been this one orc archer that keeps getting away and delivering a warning to everyone else ahead that the adventurers are coming. And Ron, I mean, everyone has had it out for this archer, but Ron particularly has felt very, very personally vexed. So, dealing with the Great Ulf in this scene, they saw the archer. The archer was there. And Ron, he had no doubts in his mind that after dealing with the Great Ulf, he was going straight for that damn archer. So was our monk. Our monk wanted to go for the archer too. In the next scene, before they could get to him, when they're dealing with their own fights, he runs away again. Oh my God, the screams of anguish and anger that emanated from Ron shook the goddamn gaming room. He looked me right in the eye and he swear to God, he told me it wasn't only because of his respect for me and the amount of work I put into building the terrain, they didn't flip the goddamn table. Oh, I live for emotional responses like that from players. But anyway, so yeah, let's see what they have to say next installment. We're going to get their point of view on the entire battle. But yeah, they pretty much own the mountain door entrance level now. Yeah, awesome.